Costume change.
That too. A woman named Phyllis Segura made these, designed these shirts, and this is, and through Louise's help, she got me in contact with her, and this is, I got the last Ira broad shirt.
Wow.
I know.
You
You know what? I sweat so much anyway. Ase kakisugi yo. Dakara chanto kiga shinai to. Okay. God, there was a point in the first part where one of the poets was reading about dreams, and then your music just evoked this very dreamlike atmosphere, and it was amazing. All right, welcome back to part 2.
I would like to just say one thing. If anyone who's reading would rather not have any music, just go like that to me, and I will stop playing. Because I understand you know whatever you want, however you want it to be.
Good one. And apologies again. I did get the bios all lined up, and I thought I had them here and screwed them up. Well, okay. Moving on. Welcome back to part 2. Halftime's over, and I would like to introduce again Danny Rosen. Please come on down.
Thank you, Taylor. And Kaz, thank you. Cool to be here. I just want to begin with a poem that's not in this book, but this is another book by my old pal Jack Mueller, who is probably the main reason that I started Lithic Press. This is the Buddhata Manifesto. There's a few copies of it up there. Anyway, in another book, Jack has a poem that goes like this. You will never understand me. I will never understand you. Love starts there. I just got this shirt from a friend of Louise's in Kyoto. Poquito. I'm going to just read one poem by Ira from The Wizard, and one poem of mine afterwards. And I'm not going to read the entire poem called the Stauffenberg Cycle, which is a poem Ira wrote about a number of things, including the attempt to assassinate Hitler during the latter part of the war. And
on my birthday.
There we go. So I'll read, and I'm not going to read the entire thing, and my apologies to Ira, although I thought a lot about it, that I'm going to I'm picking parts of it, and I think Ira would be okay with what I'm doing. So, the Stauffenberg Cycle for Julian Beck in Eternity. Was habe ich hier verloren in diesem Land? What have I lost here in this land? Hans Magnus Enzensberger. Left Kathmandu on winter solstice. Arrived Munich, 10:30 a.m., December 22, 1977. Arrival. Hermann Göring screamed at me, demanding 1 Deutschmark for the use of a pushcart at German customs. He muttered to himself, abashed, when I told him to shove it up his ass. 10 years too late, a monument. 23 December. So, Venus has 7 screws in her leg, and Orpheus has 1 screw in his heart, which is left of center. Only 1 block away is Baderstrasse, where a pregnant woman and 2 children pose with machine guns. Can there be humor in terrorism? Will the first X over the picture of Wackernagel spread over the undisguised faces of Europe? Will the daughters of the pastors betray the sheep to the wolves prowling, hopeless, and Julian Beck, crawling in the dust, carries on a hopeless legacy? 24 December, Christmas Eve. She says I shouldn't leave Germany without making a poem free of malice, a poem celebrating something as if it would not be the self-evident statement of a man who cannot, by blood, refuse the conventional grievance nurtured by history. We spoke of a curtain rising, knowing it bore the word hysteria in place of history. And of course, there were always those same fat figures making their vulture songs on the currency of greed. And so I willingly accept the pain and guilt, not on knees, but on feet of gold, and know that there is a flame yet unignited, a laser staircase on which such gods might ascend to strains of glory Kriemhild never dreamed of, but then awake to these extra-cerebral knots of nostalgia and the thrilling fear suspicious of what awaits a single Parsifal in a world careless of horses, still in love with Klingsor, tied to an impossible past and a lust for survival at any expense. They schlepped their corsages of approval from Bahnhof to Bahnhof. Night of the 25th, Christmas. A Mad Hatter's meeting with Otto, Joachim, Wolfgang, Amadeus, and Thomas tearing apart a half-Jewish chicken. December 26th. Better to be carrying bananas in Africa than to be the god of Europe. 27th December. Der Ruhm der Welt ist wie Winderrauschen, das bald von hier, bald von dorter kommen, den Namen mit der Richtung fleck zu tauschen. Dante, Purgatorio 11:100. The glory of the world is like the rustle of the wind, which coming first from here, then from there, usually confuses the name with the judgment. For here is the song you have been waiting for, O brother. Here is the song of your sirens screaming in the night, and now without understanding, this Wunderpanzer is the doom of your heartland. Better let your armor down. Wilhelm Reich may be dead. Brother and panthers, prowl your streets. Your women are lusting for the Turks. Brother, and your men are full of fear. Your winning was always your losing, brother, and your losing was no losing, brother. O heirs of Hagen and black leather, be undeceived by the wet tongues of your dogs. It is time to celebrate your own mongrel longings, brother. Time to love the terror you left to your children. For they are your only hope, brother. Sons and daughters of a cowardly despair, the arbiters of justice, they bring you the truth you could never bear. I tell you, Hitler is alive and feeding fish in the Ganga. Ira Cohen, Jew, Hakim Khan, Sufi, Abdul Irawadi Gin, Naga, watchful deer priest, Colonel Klaus Graf von Stauffenberg, 1907-1944, Chief of Staff of the Reserve Army. Woo! And I didn't know Ira. I got to know him through the making of this book. And and we had a gathering similar to this in New York last year with Bobby and Penny and Louise and others. And and I was slated to read, and that afternoon I thought, oh Christ, I better go write something. And so as I was hanging out with Bobby on the streets of New York, I suddenly had an idea and rapidly walked back to my room, and that afternoon I wrote this, which back then, last year, this was called 5:15:25 in the bunker, and but it's got a new title now, which is 6/7/26 Flying in the Books, Tokyo, for Ira Cohen. Dear Ira, I never knew you. How are you? Where are you? Let's go. You wouldn't believe it. They elected the lion again. Flaming jowls, skewing voters, breaking necks in the fields, jolly and afraid for the demons we know. Take down walls, make good neighbors. They warned us, Ira. You, your friends, the streets, the eyes, brains, thoughts, memories, electric firings, the red ribbons lighting up the sidewalks with big plans, expansions, extensions, evaporations in the ether sphere, planning the unplannable, imagining the unimaginable. Plant the device, set the timer, pull the pin. Colonel von Stauffenberg has failed again. The great plots fail, and still you plot and plot, the way of art, the way you gather great gatherings, the way you reel them in. Ira, was that you? Or was it Superman, seen by a young Jewish boy in Mount Airy, looking out the window brick, pondering past the end of the block, into the woods, above the trees? Your face appeared in the clouds, over the hills, in the pews, squirming, almost dying, bursting, almost squirming, laughing, bursting, wearing a cape, finding my ears. Your eyes said, everything is cat toes, everything is cat toes. You got the ticket, you sent the dragon up the minarets, writhing over Ethiopia. I'm a vector, you're a wand waving to the sea creatures, swimming in the desert, shaking the snake, breaking the chain. We'll meet again above the ground, bastions of the free world, floating down the Ganga, down the sea, up to the cloud, into the book. You spilled what nectars you had. You drifted, you turned, you said, my child, it is by the imagination we live. Thanks a lot.
Fire. Everything is fire. Just all the poets and all the poetry is amazing. Thank you. Next, Bobby Ira. Calm down. Oh, shoot.
I get it.
I'd like to also mention that this book, Ira spent 4 months with his friend and an editor, Jordan Zinovich, and they spent these 4 months making this book in 2006, but the book was never published, it never found a home. So the book that Danny and I made is the same book that Ira had worked on. It's just, hopefully we might have improved it a bit, or I think it's a book that Ira would have been proud of, because he didn't get enough recognition in his life. He was a major figure, and wherever he went, either he created a scene or he became part of the literary scene, the creative scene. He just had that mojo about him that he was an artist through and through. So this morning, Taylor sent over a poem that he had dedicated to me and a girlfriend, Naomi Wright, who's in heaven. but and I had forgotten that he wrote it, dedicating it to me, because Ira and I traveled together on this one. It's between Newcastle and London, but we traveled in Amsterdam. We were in Amsterdam together, and we were in Australia. And anyway, this is a poem that he dedicated to us while he wrote it after we had been on the train. And this is for Robert Yara and Naomi Wright. Between the heroism of the outlaw and the weightlessness of death, I dream on the train of things so evanescent I can't record them any more than an old clown can remember his triumphs while that place out of this world and without a single belvedere. Between our point of origin and our destination, we wish for middle names worthy of our aspiration. My dream is a cloud seeking to avoid rest when daylight fades in the arms of another. Passing the wreckage, we enter the tunnel and discover the light on the other side. This hieroglyphic souvenir, like the hotel key in my breast pocket, signals the end of our journey. Let us not forget to drop it in the mailbox of lost things. And this was on the train from Newcastle to London, July 12, 2003.
ロバート・ヤラとネイオミ・ライトに無法者の勇敢さと死の無重力の間に私は一連の物事を夢見続ける。ほんのつかの間に消え去るので記録することができない。ちょうど年取ったピエロが自分の手柄やあの見晴らし台一つもない世界の果てを思い出せないように、私たちのそもそもの由来と私たちの最終地点の間で望むものといえば、私たちの志にふさわしい中間名ミドルネームだ。私の夢は日中の光が誰か他人の腕の中で薄れてゆくときに休息を避けたがる雲だ。残骸を通り抜け私たちが入っていくのはトンネルで、向こう側で光を発見する。この象形文字のような土産物は私の胸ポケットに入っているホテルの鍵みたいなもので、旅路の終わりを合図してくれる。遺失物の郵便箱に落とし入れるのを忘れないようにしよう。2003年7月12日、ニューカッスルからロンドンへの列車の中で。
And the last poem I'll read is a poem that Ira wrote for Valley Myers. If you don't know who Valley was, she was an amazing Australian artist who I met at the Chelsea Hotel in 1983. I was introduced to her by the beat poet Gregory Corso, and we became great friends. And she and Ira they loved each other very much. Valley, you could never say the word love. You couldn't say I love you. She didn't like that word. She thought, what is love? Love is caring. But she and Ira really did love each other. And Ira always said he wanted to marry her, not for any kind of any reason that marriage usually is entered into, but because he thought if they got married, because they were such extraordinary people, that they would have the biggest, best wedding party of ever. And when Valley died, she had asked me before she died to spread her ashes in a boat in Australia with about 30 of her friends, and Ira came with me. And it was a very sad, wonderful time there with Ira. And anyway, I'll read this poem that Ira wrote for Valley. Poem for Valley. Perhaps the Armenian carving elephants on the human hair between heartbeats can tell you better why you were born at midday during a storm, or what the Moroccan is thinking in the asylum. Perhaps he can tell you why the best sailors can't swim, or how to freeze two perfect tears on the Chinese face. Perhaps the fox holding an egg in her mouth can tell you better how red conquered the rain, or how the blue line curves around the nipple. And I am sure that the hound knows better the meaning of the maidenhair fern, or the secrets of lavender under pillows. But only the harpooned whale can tell you as he turns, rising to the sun, how much he hates your blue-green eyes, how much a whale's heart weighs when it is finally undone. Thank you.
Kenji, did you just translate that poem today? Wow. Great. Oh, I think this will be our last performer this evening. Everybody welcome Penny Arcade.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. Like actually right here. Well, it's such a beautiful gathering of people and so metaphysical. I wish I spoke Japanese. What a pity. What a pity. What a pity I don't.
I taught you kanpai.
You taught me kanpai.
Just say kanpai.
And I can say, Oriwa omoshiroi. So Ira was very important to me. Like everyone, I loved him. It's really weird because I have this epic poem about Ira that I wrote after he died, and I didn't bring it with me. But then I mentioned I was going to read it to Bobby, and Bobby said, well, that poem is very accusatory. Because it's about all of Ira, and Ira was a lot of things. And personally, for me, certain criminal behaviors are not unattractive. So let's see, I'm going to do this. This is from, I do performance, I do theater based on my poetic practice. This is from a show that I've been touring for a long time now called Longing Lasts Longer. Okay, let's see. I grew up outside the hypnotic swirl of media and market in the culture of resistance. I have never been to Disneyland. I have never owned a Barbie doll. I never saw Star Wars, E.T., or Raiders of the Lost Ark. I never watched the Brady Bunch, Cheers, Friends, Seinfeld, Sex and the City, or Girls. I didn't watch television for 40 years. I was too busy fucking, getting high, and trying to evolve. I am not encoded. I am not brainwashed. I reside outside the illusion of the spectacle, in the world of substance over appearance. In a scientific experiment, the group not acted upon by outside influences called a control group. Yes, I am part of the control group, but obviously I'm not the only one. In the past, even as we move forward into our future, we brought our cultural history with us. The music hall, the Bohemian Cafe, the gay bar, the black jazz and blues club, the used bookstore, the hippie head shop, the rock and roll bar, the strip joint. One authentic culture after another lived in harmony with what had come before and remained completely distinct, visible, and available to all newcomers. Yes, the world has changed. Yes, but the change going on in the world now is different. This is a change that destroys authenticity. This is a change that erases history. This is a change that creates cultural amnesia. And out there, the wounded spirit of our cities is crying out, and we are filled No, not with nostalgia. No, we are not filled with nostalgia. Nostalgia is what they accuse us of when we try to point out what's being lost culturally. We're not filled with nostalgia. We are filled with longing. I make friends with places the way other people make friends with people. Maybe it's because my need for solitude and sanctuary has always been so great. As a child in my immigrant Italian mother's house, even grown up, I was never allowed to close my bedroom door or be alone for any period of time. Instead, I found sanctuary where they could not follow me. The empty railroad tracks behind my house, the black acid plateau below the dump, the jagged granite outcrop. On my way to school, every single day, I would climb up, my back against that rock, the sun in my face. We can find many things in other people, but solitude and sanctuary are not among them. No matter how kind, how non-judgmental, or even how silent. Not even a lover can hold our solitude or offer us sanctuary. Solitude cannot be shared. It can only shelter one, and we must never turn another person into a sanctuary. I know many people cannot fathom New York City as a place of solitude or sanctuary, but for some of us, for many of us, that cacophonous, scurrying, chaotic place held a holy peace. The asphalt jungle, they called it in the 1960s, boundaried by danger and risk, physical, emotional, cultural, intellectual risk. And we who needed that raw, unmapped landscape craved it with a desperation as great as the bleakness that emanated from those haunted streets. That bleakness flowed and met the desolation of our own hearts, the way the sea washes back into its tributaries. We who fit nowhere else. We who ground to the granite ignite below our feet. We who fled the myopic, claustrophobic Puritanism of America's interior, breathed free though ragged in its harsh embrace. People talk about how the world is changing, but some of us know that the world has changed forever. There are no more empty places, no dark alleys, no secret corners left anywhere. Look, New York City, it's just a tiny island. It was easy to conquer, and then the boroughs fell in behind it, and now New York City is like every other city in the world. It too has been mapped, delineated, bought, sold, branded. Time out New York, time out Berlin, time out Oslo, time out Istanbul, time out Aleppo, time out Kiev, time out Gaza. When I tell people what I miss about New York, people think I'm talking about when I was young. They think I'm talking about the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. They think I'm talking about the past, a past that's been glorified to them, like in Patti Smith's book, Just Kids. People come up to me on the street and they go, "Oh my God, you're Penny Arcade. I read about you in Patti Smith's book, Just Kids." And I say, "Well, you read my name in Patty's book." You see, they associate me with that lost glory of the 70s. But I associate those decades only with the glorious defeat of our values. You see, I've been kept underground all these years. I guess you could say I out-Ramboed Patty. I know from experience that my point of view I know from experience that my point of view, I forgot what it is, oh yeah. I know from experience that my point of view is incomprehensible to most people. Why? Well, because my point of view has been honed by a long exile at the edge of society. And if it gets to you, and sometimes it does, and you feel like you just can't go on talking to stupid people, yes, the world has changed. And all you need to do is to look no further than the roses. Haven't you noticed that the roses in the shops no longer smell like roses? Doesn't that bother you? Can I get a witness in this room? Does someone know what I'm talking about? The roses don't smell like roses anymore. Isn't that frightening? William Shakespeare said, a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. And what, pray tell, I ask you, is the name of the rose now? Incomprehensible. That's it. That's that poem. So I was going to do this thing. So I'm in a lot of... I'm in a lot of relationship with dead people. You know, I think that's one of the ways that a lot of us who are kind of isolated or feel isolated in our lives, that we identify relationships, you know, throughout history. And so what happened was I was doing a residency at this place called McDowell, which is a very supposedly prestigious residency. And that was my first residency, and I was 65 years old when I got that residency. And the first thing that happened was I got there, and immediately there were 6 queer poets, really bad poets. And I said, apparently not so prestigious. But I started to hear voices. They have many, many acres of land, and it's very beautiful. And I kept hearing voices talking to me. And then I realized that maybe when poets die, they go and you're louder than I am. They congregate in these places and act as inspiration. That was kind of what I thought. But then I started to be aware of this poet named Eleanor Wiley. And she was an incredibly famous poet at the turn of the century. She was like one of the first poets that went on the radio. Don't Google it, because if you hear her, you'll just be bored to death. But apparently she was the Patti Smith of 1905. And so then I found this poem of hers, and I was riding in the car, and I turned it into a song. It just happened. I just transposed. It's from a poem called Berners Street, and Berners Street is in London, and she had to flee to London because she was incredibly scandalous. She fell in love with this guy and left her husband and son and was not received any longer in society. So I'm going to do this a cappella. Is there any water that I could have, or a sip of anything?
There's ginger ale.
Yeah, I'll do it. When I died on Avenue C, I remember well. I had lights at head and feet and a pass my grave is kept clean. When I died on 6th Street, I was saying my prayers. There I died all alone, up 4 flights of stairs. Won't you see that my grave is kept clean? Well, there's one kind favor that I'd ask of you. There's just one kind favor that I'd ask of you. There's just one kind favor that I'd ask of you. Won't you see that my grave is kept clean? When I died on St. Mark's Place, the small gold that I had surrounded me with kith and kin, kith and kin, kith and kin. The small gold that I had, I died half mad. Well, have you ever heard that coffin sound? Have you ever heard that coffin sound? When they slam that coffin cover down, it means that one more person's going in the ground. When I died on Stanton Street, in the curve of your arm, there I died merrily, comforted and warm. Thank you.
Oh boy.
Encore? Encore.
Yeah, what is it?
Ira loved this piece. So it goes like this. No. Mona Lisa. I am Magnum Mouth, Honey Snatch. My flavor changes constantly. No Mona Lisa. Hey, I stroll like a sailor. Bullets pass through me and I keep moving. No Mona Lisa. No sidelong glance. Supposition, preposition have no place in my communication. And when I talk, you know exactly what I mean. Mona Lisa has no mouth, no cunt. She stops at the waist. I hate that bitch. No Mona Lisa, no sidelong manipulation. I never had a father. I never learned how to be that kind of whore. You need a daddy to practice that kind of stalking. You need a daddy. I never apprenticed to my mother. I was not well for that center of attention and protection. I was nobody's baby, nobody's angel, nobody's princess. I grew wild, uncultivated, ungroomed, unprotected, and unpromoted to a position of power. I know what you want, when you want it, how you want it. I deliver without a sermon. My religion has no pope, no choir, no hope. I am a loner. You are lucky. I never learned how to simmer contentedly. Hey people, I boil over continuously. Hot sweet syrup between my legs. Hot sweet syrup between my legs. Hot sweet syrup between my legs. When I'm in love, I stay wet all the time. When I'm in love, when I'm in love, when I'm in love, I stay wet all No Mona Lisa. I cannot be cataloged or dissertated. I cannot be viewed from a different angle. I cannot be seen in a different light. No Mona Lisa. No side-long manipulation. But if I have it for you, you are lucky. Well, you can take it to the track. You can take it to the bank. You can deposit it. No Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa sits, I stand. 2 lightning bolts in my fist. A crescent moon over my cunt. I don't need special light, special glass, or a smoke-free environment. I am 3D. You can touch me. I touch back, talk back, spit back, bite back. No Mona Lisa. I tell you the truth. No Mona Lisa. I am ruthless. No Mona Lisa. I am a loner. No Mona Lisa. You are lucky. Thank you.
Man, she's got some klitzpah.
It's fine.
All right. Well, we were kind of planning to do like a jam, but honestly, it's just like it's so sweat. I'm just gonna sweat out. Let's just chill and talk for a little while and mingle, perhaps. I think that would be the best.
And buy some books.
Buy some books, buy some drinks. Support Kazoo and his amazing store.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Buy books, buy drinks.
So let me just say, I am truly moved by everyone's performance. So unexpected, everything, and it was really an honor just to get everybody together and to honor Ira as well.
Yeah.
And also wanted to say to Kenji Yuda, through his anthology, has really done a great job with his anthology with Terry Riley, Michael McClure, Ira Cohen, and one more. Sorry? Louise, how could I forget? Yes. And that you're continuing
ああ、ちょっと
Ira's,
宣伝にはなりますけども、後ろにっていうかこれですな。これは見本なんですけど、
Yeah, I just think you're really great.
いやもともとルイーズが私にどんどん詩を送ってきたのね。いやそう。2 pages, 3 pages, 5 pages, 7 pages のいっぱい来て、で結局アイラが編集した通りに並べました。So I made it just like Ira layouted it, but I just changed the font. Like this one or something. Well, this is how it looked in the manuscript, in the book form that Ira edited it. So it's a reproduction of it. I didn't take liberty for editing because Ira was I didn't know Ira and I never met Ira, but I could understand that he was a really great editor. And plus, today I thought, well, today or yesterday, I felt like 日本語で言いますとね、アイラ・コーエンっていうのはあんまり読んだことなかったんですけど、なんかじゃあ今日見つけたからみたいなのが詩がどんどん送ってくるんですよって、これはなんかくめども尽きぬような詩を多分毎日とかね、一日何個もとか書いてたことなんじゃないかなと私ね。So working on this performance, I realized that Ira was like the spring of poems. I mean, his work was like spring of poems that never dries up and just keeps coming. And there is a poem for any occasion or any person, you know. まあ、どなたが死んだか、どなたが結婚したかとか、あとは例えば食べ物でもね、この食べ物とか、この土地の何とかも、とか人物の名前も、どんなことにも書いた詩があるっていうのは、これはすげえんじゃねえかっていうのは、今回初めて分かりましたので、関われてよかったなと思います。後ろに置いてあります。
Thank you for helping to continue Ira's legacy in Japan as well. For now, Om Shankar. We should probably skedaddle 10時半頃までいていいかなと思って、で、その後多分書いた方が we could stay till about 10:30, I think, and then after that we should probably skedaddle, shake a leg. Great stuff. Thank you, everybody. Great stuff. Thank you. Thank you. Just hearing you guys.
テラさん。テラさん。テラさん。
Yeah, she can. Colorado boy.
If it's possible. Look at a photo together in front.